Hi everyone, TSW here. In this video, I'm going to be going through Kara on 3 different patches. So on the left, we have Anniversary on the left from the PTR. In the top right, we have 2021 PTR TBC. And in the bottom right, we have 2001 TBC PTR, but an earlier build. So the bottom right is the earliest. Then the top right is still classic PTR, and on the left is Anniversary from a day or two ago. So there are some changes to Kara. The nerfs are in, and originally I wasn't really seeing many nerfs whatsoever. So my view was, after the run, okay, there's not that much that's changed. It's not that big of a deal for Kara, at least. I'm definitely looking forward to getting into the 25 mans, and seeing Gruul Mag, and especially tier 5, tier 6, because that's what that's going to impact the game more. Kara's Kara's not that big of a deal in my opinion, or at least compared to the 25 mans. So there was a Reddit post made. I'll share it here. Sorry if you want to see Achievement. But you can see here that in Kara, these are the following nerfs that have been made. Okay, so Nightbane melee damage reduced by about 50%. I really struggled to, I wouldn't have said it's 50% based on the footage here and what I'm seeing in Anniversary. But the gear is different. But at the same time, on the bottom right, I'm chugging Iron Shield potions, so I've got 2,500 additional armor compared to my gear. So obviously, we're not comparing apples to apples. In the bottom right video, we have very much pre-raid gear on the whole raid. In the top right video, I've got tier 4 shoulders at least, so some of it is raid gear. And then on the left, we've got incredible gear. In terms of kill times, don't compare them, because everything's going to be killed so much quicker on the left. And also, I'm syncing up the boss fights just so you can see the difference. The difference here is the gear that we have. It's not based on the HP of the bosses. The HP of the bosses, as far as I can tell, are all the same. So continuing with this post. So apparently Nightbane hits half, which I didn't really notice. And even when I look at the numbers, I'm struggling to see that based on what I see in these clips. Nightbane ads no longer have a fire damage aura. Yeah, this is like an immolation aura thing they have. So if you're tanking 4 or 5 of them, you're taking a lot of damage. In the clips here, well, let's go forward straight to Nightbane. We don't need to see all of the whole Kara run. We know what Kara is, right? So on the left here, you can, well, let me rewind it because it's just very quick. So this is Nerf phase on the left, and you're going to see that we have good damage, so the ads die very quickly. Again, they have the same HP on all versions. They die insanely quickly. The melee are not phased by any kind of immolation aura. They're not dying. And we kill them all very quickly without... We roughly have twice as much damage on the left than we do on the right. So now if you look on the right, we're going to have an ad phase, and we're dropping the Hunter Trap, and Paladin is basically kiting with Consecration. So Consecration and Hunter Trap are done at the same place, and the Paladin just runs around and tries to stay alive. What a warrior can do, in my job as a warrior tank, is pull out 1 or 2, mark it with Skull, and melee can attack that 1, and only get immolation aura damage from that 1 skeleton ad. So this is the big change. And even then, on the left, we didn't one-shot Nightbane because the healers had a mana issue. I think they were just playing around and not taking it super seriously. Perhaps not using consumables. Things like mana pots are incredibly powerful. I might do a Kara guide again. I've already done a couple of Kara guides for TBC Classic, but I might redo them. Just make it a bit more 2025-ish. I don't know. We'll see. So that's one of the changes. What else do we have? Nightbane Smoking Blast damage reduced by a ton, 80 to 90%. So Geordie the priest gets hit by the smoking blast here on the left hand side, and on the right I'm not sure who takes it, but I know at one point we have, I thought it was a resto shaman that died, but I could be wrong, I can't remember. I was looking at it earlier, these video clips on the right. But yes, anyone who's taking damage by the smoking blast, you're basically dead in 5 seconds or less, unless you are literally spammed with heals. So if you're able to kite the, well, I mean, it's not really relevant. Like, do you want to know what to do? It's not really relevant anymore. But yeah, you had to spam heal anyone getting hit by the fire immolation aura, and anyone and the individual getting targeted by the smoking blast. So here there are ads coming. You want to negate the damage from the immolation aura, so staying away from these mobs. And then one person, yeah, this guy, the priest, is getting spammed with the smoking blast, so they just need to spam heal themselves. It's very taxing on mana, but going into Burning Crusade Anniversary, we're going to have dual spec, so just get a third healer, and you know it'll be no problem whatsoever. What else do we have? Netherspite no longer has a group-wide damage aura. So if you move to Netherspite, somewhere near the end, so only 2 of the raids did Netherspite. So Netherspite here, we're saying no longer has the aura. So on the right-hand side, no, I don't see. There's no debuff. No longer has a group-wide damage aura. So is this the shadow damage? I'm taking shadow damage in both of them. Or maybe I'm not. No, I'm not. I just took damage because I stood in the void zone. So there's literally no shadow damage. There must be. Look, hunters are taking damage here. Everyone's taking a chunk at a time. So that damage still... Sorry. Well, that damage is current on that old patch. And then on this new one, let's have a quick look. Yeah, like the rogue, for example, isn't taking any damage. Yeah, so we're not taking shadow damage during Netherspite. That's crazy. I wouldn't say that's a big change to Netherspite. It's the well, it is a big change, but it's not something that's going to well, maybe it's a good change in that it's very minor, because assigning and executing the portals and the beams are what gets you the kill. It just makes healing easier, but again, I don't know, with dual spec it makes at least like Kara a lot easier, because if you're struggling you can just get a third healer. Anyway, keep going. Feels like a lot of the trash in Kara had its health nerfed. I mean, it's hard for me to, well, I'm not going to look at all the health values. We just blasted through it. Kara trash isn't difficult at the worst of times. Just take it slow and yeah, make sure your healers are in range, and you can use some CC, can't you, on some of the hard parts. Skeletal ushers can now be shackled and deal less melee damage. So this I might struggle to show trash here, because I fast forwarded all the trash. But the skeletal ushers are after Opera. No, they're not. They're after Maiden, which is where we were. So Maiden. So these are the skeletal ushers on the way to Opera after Maiden. And these apparently are dealing less damage and can be shackled. I mean, I guess, I mean, personally, you know, I like the trash being difficult. I don't find these mobs terribly difficult. All you do is grounding totem, and if you don't have a grounding totem, you know, just 2 tanks, tank each of them. But again, it's something that I suppose people don't enjoy so much. But I mean, I think a lot of the time, I mean, I wholeheartely don't think that this is a necessary nerf. But again, it's I don't think any of I don't think any of these are really necessary. Anyway, Shade of Ran no longer casts Dragon Breath. So Shade of Ran, if we go somewhere where Shade of Ran might be, the Dragon Breath is exactly what a Frost Mage would do. It basically just disorientates you in a frontal cone in front of the boss. And I don't expect I'm going to find a Dragon Breath on the footage on the right. Although, something just happened on the right. What's this? Or am I just looking at the Hunter's Mark animation? Yeah, it might have just been that caught my eye. But anyway, he can do a mild CC to you. And if it's at the... If he's... Oh, there it is. That's the Dragon Breath. There you go. Did anyone even get CC'd there? Like, can we even see a debuff? So is it doing it on the Holy Paladin? So he's targeting the Paladin at the moment. And then he does it, and there's no debuff even. Well, oh, is that the debuff? There you go. I think. There's no, that's someone else who died. Anyway, he does a a Dragon Breath, okay, that didn't really seem to do a lot. Anyway, that he no longer does that. Shade of Iran's water elementals have 14k HP down from about 42. I don't think I've ever been in a raid where we've killed water elementals, apart from in some like edge case private server stuff. We've got water elementals here on the left, and we're close to killing the boss, whereas on the right, we are definitely not close to killing the boss just yet. In fact, well, actually, I am actually in favour for some Shade of Iran nerfs, I think, because I think on both of these raids on the right-hand side, they're not one-shots. And in fact, I think in one of the raids, it took us like 4 or 5 attempts to kill Nightbane and 4 or 5 attempts to kill Shade of Iran. So I think, yeah, if anything is going to be nerfed, I think Shade of Iran might be the one boss. Like, I don't think Netherspite and Prince and maybe Nightbane, I mean, Nightbane could, well, I don't like the ads being immune to magic damage. I know that's they were able to be attacked in so in like original launch of TBC 2008, the skeletal ads were immune to magic damage, but in classic they've always been able to be attacked, which is the way it should be. Well, that makes most sense. Oh, I'm moving groups. Oh, I thought I was going to do Lust. No, maybe not. We have no Shaman alive. Anyway, yeah, the ads have less HP. Okay, what else we got? Netherspite's damage aura no longer pulses during the banish phase. Okay, great. Peace swapping debuff during the chess event has had its duration reduced. I don't think I even show chess here, but yeah, it means that you can get out of your piece and go into a new piece with less downtime. Spell stealing filters before Netherspite. So these are mobs before Netherspite, which actually is where we are now. The mobs, you could spell steal their buff and deal great damage on, the next boss. So here's a spell filter. They have a buff. You can spell steal it. Okay. What else do we have? Nightbane changes. Rain of Bones no longer targets the player with the highest threat in their phase and follows them. It just lands randomly and does barely any damage. So this is what we see when people are dying. Well, when the healers are having to self-heal themselves here. I thought it was the smoking blast, but that's a separate mechanic. So Rain of Bones is the one that destroys you with a debuff and used to go on the highest aggro person during the air phase, which would almost always be the healer or a healer. And healers can get caught out by that. Skeletons no longer have their immolation aura. Yeah, so the skeletons aren't painful if you're nearby. The boss can no longer fear during air phase. I've never seen Nightbane ever fear during air phase. I've never seen that. Nor upon landing. Yeah. So something that I found out on the anniversary was I only ever saw one bellowing roar. That's the fear. And I don't know if my keybind or me or my macro messed up and I actually got feared. I didn't stance it. But our damage was so good that he never actually feared more than once. But that's more about the damage than anything else. But you can, you're going to get fewer fears based on the damage that you do. Iran, immunity effects no longer trigger flame wreath and the damage can now be ignored by said immunity effects. What? Immunity effects? What even is an immunity effect? Oh, like ice block, bubble, okay. No longer trigger Flame Wreath. Okay, so you can bubble Ice Block and move out Flame Wreath. And the damage can now be ignored by said immunity. Okay, cool. Right, and then maybe later on, like at some point, I'll go through the tier 5 changes. That you know, in my experience of Kara was that it was, you know, we outgeared it tremendously. So it's hard to compare apples to apples because these raids on the right are actually more appropriately geared for this. The Kara run was pretty smooth. We had people who maybe hadn't done Kara before, but we also had some people who were very seasoned WoW players. So again, it's hard to compare, but it went very smoothly. The bosses all had the same amount of HP on all versions, and you know, the Shaman Lust was very welcome because we only had one Shaman, so that was nice. We did have wipes where we didn't get the debuff removed, so we weren't able to. Sated debuff? Is that the sated debuff, or is that the drums debuff? I can't remember which is which. But the debuff that stops you from using Lust again. Exhaustion, I think. Oh no, is it? I can't remember. Anyway, that didn't go away, so that was annoying, but it's whatever. And yeah, I mean, it's Kara. It's not too. I mean, it was fine. It was fine. There's not a lot to say really. I'm trying to think of anything that I can say. There was one mob after, or rather just before Maiden, if I can find the spot, where he teleported onto me. So where are we looking? I fast forward. So this mob on the left, this guardsman, if I slow it down, one's pulled. Or is this on the second one? One of them teleported on top of me. Yeah, so that's the one that teleported on top of me. So we do a pull, and I think we ninja. I think the paladin pulls as well. So we've got 2 packs here maybe, but the guard didn't come with the pack. And this was bugged. I made a previous video where someone in the comments told me that this guard was bugged, and I was like, oh yeah, he was bugged on TBC Classic. I remember. So this one guard here is still there, and when I go and pull him, he's going to teleport on top of me. Let's slow down it all the way. So he teleports right on top of me. So I think that might be something to do with the anti-boosting measures that Blizzard have. So that's something to bear in mind. Maybe that will have some sort of interaction going on further down the road that we might need to consider. I don't know. Hopefully not, but I don't know. So continuing on forward. Oh, this was really funny. We had so much damage, again, because we outgeared the content. The lusting on pull of Creator was the play. We killed him before we even had an evocation where you do the big damage. A fun fact here is on the bottom right with the initial PTR of classic TBC, you get 1 spark from Creator, and then he summons 3 sparks, which was way more fun. Now this is like increasing the difficulty, obviously, of the encounter, and it was so much fun. And I think with dual spec, you can get away with having that looked like it was only 2 sparks, but that was 1 spark, and 1 spark was left over from the previous summon sparks. So is it 3-1, 3-1, 3-1? I don't know, but again, it's like with dual spec, it's easy. It was much easier, at least, to have one. Yeah, so it's 3-1. It's 1-3, 1-3, 1-3. Just have one more person in the raid who goes healer, and you can have fights like this. Is it fun to have more sparks, more astral flares? Maybe. I don't know. Not necessarily. Is it more fun than just lusting on pull and killing Creator on the left here and not even getting evocation? I don't know. But again, that's because we outgear it. You know, we're not comparing it. It's not the same. Anything else? Ilhoof, that was easy. I mean, everything's easy. I mean, Kara's easy, even when it's... I don't know. Like, Kara's easy. Even when it's buffed, it's still easy if you know what you're doing and have people on voice comms, you know? But if you're pugging Kara, then the nerfs and the difficulty make way more sense. You know, if you're doing Kara for the first time and you're wanting to like grab these really cool epics and have a whole evening of Kara, maybe even 2 evenings if it takes that long. You know, it's an epic raid in that sense. But if you're doing Kara for the third time that week, or in an alt or in a pug, these changes will be a welcome addition, because you don't want to be spending, you know, you don't want to have an alt and need to spend 5 hours in Kara. You know, I don't think many people want that. And then we get to Prince, and you know, Prince is the same. And yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. The changes are here. I'll link this in the description so you can read them in your own leisure. And yeah, I mean, the biggest difference is the gear that you bring and the people that you play with. The nerfs or the lack of nerfs, or the, you know, that is a small slice of the pie. You still have to execute the portals and the beams on Netherspite. Prince is unchanged. Nightbane is a fair bit easier, but he was fairly hard. Shade of Ran will still be a bit challenging. Not significant changes to Shade of Ran, just the you can immune the fire flame wreath, and he doesn't do Dragon's Breath, and the elementals have less HP. But I don't think you're ever really considering killing the elementals, are you? Just save Lust and burn once he hits 40% and summons the ads. You just need to be mindful of the mechanics. So in terms of mechanics, there's no real change. It's just like Nightbane, you're taking less damage in the air phase, and also ground phase apparently by 50%. And apparently some of the trash has its health nerfed, but I didn't notice any of that, mainly because we were destroying everything because we had so much gear. Anyway, this video has gone on long enough. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the future. Take care. Bye-bye.